Right next to me is the North American Best Car of the Year for 2025. This is the 11th generation Honda Civic. This is the hybrid sport touring model, and we have heard so many great things about this. So of course, we're gonna talk about the exterior, we're gonna check out the powertrain, the interior, and of course, take this thing for a test drive. All right guys, so taking a look at the exterior off the bat, I'm really digging the new look. I think the front fascia redesign, perfect. I love the honeycomb gloss black grille with the big Honda badge right in the middle, hidden parking sensors in there. We have some more hidden in the grille here that are paint matched. The color is called Boost Blue. Honestly, for this year, to me, this is the best color that you can pick. Gorgeous shade. And if you're going to the store and you don't remember where you parked, you can easily find it under the sun. It's bright and flashy, but not too flashy. Sophisticated. The headlights are nice and wide, looking very clean. As we move down to our wheels, for the sport touring, what we're gonna get is 18-inch, very unique styling wheels here. I dig it. I think it matches the overall aesthetic for the vehicle. And as we move down to the side, the sport touring trim is gonna get you these black painted side mirrors. Unfortunately, they are not power folding, but they are still power operated to get it to where you want it to go. But are you seeing what I'm seeing here? Look at this black. A coherent look from this sport touring. You know, I can't tell you how many vehicles we've reviewed that are sporty with black accents everywhere, but are just completely killed by way too much chrome in, these parts of the car. So love the coherent look, Honda, very sharp. I also enjoy these paint matched door handles here. Again, adding to that sophisticated and clean look. I'm probably gonna say sophisticated a million times in this video, but a unique feature about this vehicle is the locking walk away feature. So if I walked away, the vehicle would lock itself. But another cool feature is you get out of the car, shut the door, tap the door handle, and the vehicle will lock itself. You know, this used to be considered a luxury feature. Love to see how that's included in this Honda Civic. All right, so as we take a look at the rear end for this Honda Civic, let me know what you think about the new redesign. I think it still looks like last generation, just subtly refreshed, looking really good. Slightly darker taillights, it's a split LED design. But as we come back up here, what I would do if this was my Civic is I would option the $400 spoiler that comes across the top here, because not only does it look freaking good on these hatchbacks, but this is now the fastest Civic ever if we're not talking about the Type R, so why not, right? But as we look lower, we have some chrome badging on the left and on the right. Again, maybe I would have loved to have seen black, but it still does look pretty refined. But what looks even more refined is looking even lower. And you see no exhaust tips. We have a hidden exhaust pipe on the right side, but you couldn't even tell it was there even if you got underneath it. So pretty cool stuff. Now let's open this thing up to see how much space we're rocking with. All right. What we're looking at is 25 cubic feet of space. Definitely not too shabby. This is really where the hatchback shines when it comes to its competitors. And what we have here is a 60/40 fold down rear seats. So you fold those bad boys down, you're looking at roughly, I think, a little over 50 cubic feet of space, which definitely, again, not too shabby. We also get this little privacy shade here that comes across the top. And what that's gonna do is just provide some protection for if you're parked in a parking lot, you got stuff back here. People walking, looking in your car are not gonna be able to see what you have. And it's really cool because it comes from the side, unlike a lot of SUVs nowadays. You pull it from the back of the seats and then you gotta remove it, and it's kind of pain in the butt. So really liking what they did here. As we look underneath the floor here, unfortunately, In typical hybrid fashion, we're not gonna get a spare tire. There is just absolutely no room for one when you have your battery and all your electric components. It kind of raises that floor height up a bit, takes up space. A bummer, but nonetheless, we do have an air compressor, a tire repair kit, and just some little fun stuff. Maybe a little bit of storage capacity, but honestly, not too much. But I am still impressed with what we're getting at this price point. So with that being said, guys, let's go take a peek at what lies underneath the hood. All right, guys, so opening up the hood here, we do have a prop rod on the left side. The hood isn't too heavy, it's not too light. I think it's a nice balance. Feels very sturdy. What we're looking at is a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder engine. It is mated with 2 electric motors and a 1.06 kilowatt-hour battery pack. This whole thing is paired to an e-CVT. Let me know what you guys think about that down below in the comments. Now, total vehicle output is around 200 horsepower with 232 foot-pounds of torque. Again, essentially making this one of the fastest Honda Civics out there. Not talking about the Type R. But let's talk fuel economy. This thing is pretty great and class leading, if I should say. We're looking at 50 in the city, 45 on the highway for a combined 48 miles per gallon. Not too shabby. All right, guys, with that being said, let's go hop in the interior and see what we're rocking with. Inside, the Sport Touring interior looks fantastic. We have this light gray leather upholstery. Black leather is also available, which brightens the cabin. The front seats are heated with 3 levels of adjustment, but there is no ventilation option, nor any heated rear seats. The driver gets a high-tech cockpit, a 10.2-inch full LCD digital gauge cluster, and it provides all the info nice and clean. The Sport Touring's 9-inch touchscreen infotainment sits atop the dash. The screen is very quick and responsive. I like kind of the 3D effect it gives. It's placed behind like another layer, so it looks like there's depth to the screen. Also, when it comes to infotainment screens, Honda always nails it because I love the inclusion of physical buttons for home and to go back, as well as a volume knob, all in the same place, right where the driver can access it. They make it so easy to navigate just using the features in the car, so I love that. Our mesh honeycomb inserts on the dash here look very, very good. There's clicky noises when we move the AC vents. Dude, talk about satisfying. And these knobs, you hear that? Love the physical buttons for the climate control. Screens in these new cars gotta go, and I think a majority of people would agree. We do have one QI compatible phone charger that works very well. Thank goodness. You know, normally sometimes your phones will just fly off of it, and my phone has stayed planted in that thing and charged well. So digging it, digging it. We have 2 USB-C ports just above that, and to the right we have our 12-volt outlet. Our shifter is kind of plain looking, but it feels solid in my hand. It's leather wrapped, very easy. Again, you know, if this is like your first car ever, this is perfect. It's standard, ordinary. We have 2 cup holders to the right of that, which if you have large drinks will not get in the way of you shifting. Just below that, we do have our drive mode selector switch. You got eco, normal, sport, and individual, all tailored to which type of driving style you'd be interested in, and they actually all do something. So that's an added plus. As we open up our center console, we do have, you know, plenty of space. It goes pretty deep, and we also get this little tray to kind of put our keys, keep things separate. You can put it there, or you can put it there. Shutter closed. Soft, very soft leather on the armrest, which I love because I'm someone who always has to have their elbows propped up when I'm driving, and it feels real nice. Also on the door panels here. Now looking higher on the door panels and up here on the dash, that looks like molded plastic with maybe leather over it. It is beautiful, but it does get very dusty, and it would be a disservice if I didn't mention that. As we look up, we have one sunglass holder there and a sunroof with a manual sunshade. At this price point, I am not complaining. What I would have loved to have seen in this press car is the digital rear view mirror here. Nonetheless though, it standard looks very good and it works as a mirror should. With that being said, let's look at our wheel. We have everything we need on it. Our volume and radio controls, our paddle shifters, and on the right side, our driver assist functions for cruise control, following distance, and all that fun stuff. An absence though of a heated steering wheel. kind of a bummer. I was looking for it these past couple mornings and it just doesn't have it. A bit of a shame, but as we look at our door panels again, we have one touch up and down windows for the front seats. For the rear, unfortunately, you do not get that. Now, as I look through the windshield, I have nothing reflecting into the windshield and back at my eyes like a lot of these new vehicles with chrome or colored stuff up here that are reflective. That never gets talked about, and it's such a big thing that drives me crazy, at least. So I'm happy to report that when you're driving and the sun's right above you, nothing's going to be distracting in the windshield. Great visibility through the B-pillar here and in the front. Love it. Now let's talk about seating position. For a hatchback, I kind of expected to be sitting a little higher up, but with this, I feel more like I'm driving a typical sedan, which may take some getting used to if you're normally driving, you know, a crossover. Definitely noteworthy. All right, with that being said, guys, let's hop in the back and see how much space we're rocking with. All right, gang, I'm posted up in the back here, and you know, I am really comfortable. It looks very attractive. There's not much going on, but in terms of headroom, I'm 5'10" for scale, and I'm like nowhere near close to touching, so it feels great. Legroom, 37.4 inches, so I can scoot them forward a little bit and get just a bit more comfortable. You know, sport touring, I imagine maybe you'll have some people back here going on a road trip. Definitely an enjoyable and comfortable experience. However, it does get points off for not including rear climate control. No, there's no AC vents, there's no USB-C ports, literally nothing for your passengers to do back here besides turn this light on and fold this armrest down. But let me tell you, that is the softest armrest I've ever felt in my life. With really small cup holders though. But yeah, nothing really crazy going on back here, but I am very excited to see how this thing drives, so why don't we take this thing for a spin. On the road, the hybrid Civic lives up to its fun and efficient promise. At normal speeds, under 65 miles an hour, the powertrain is butter. The electric motor propels you forward with smooth, instant power, and the gasoline engine only quietly comes in when needed. In light to moderate cruising, you barely notice the engine at all. You mostly hear the ambient road noise. But in sport mode, driving aggressively, you can hear an artificial growl through the speakers just to mimic a more sporty Civic sound, which took a bit of getting used to and was not my cup of tea. The steering is nicely weighted. It's very responsive. Going over bumps and stuff too, the vehicle feels very composed. You know, there's not too much road feel in the wheel. I think it's the, you know, perfect amount for kind of feeling in control. I actually really like the way this thing drives, and that power delivery is just so smooth. Now, if I wasn't after like insanely good gas mileage, I'd be driving this thing in sport mode all the freaking time. The throttle response is fantastic, and the 0 to 60 time we saw in sport mode was right around 6.5 seconds. For a Civic, that's pretty dang quick. And so yeah, this thing is pretty fun to drive. I gotta say, if you're going around corners, kind of flying, you can hear these front tires do some screaming, and it is really fun. But something unique, you know, I find about this vehicle is it's not offered in an all-wheel drive variant like the Prius is. And I think that's a big letdown, because I know a lot of people, including myself, would buy, you know, this car and really enjoy having an all-wheel drive system. Peace of mind in different weather conditions and just better traction overall. I'm a fan. Kind of a missed opportunity. Maybe that's something they'll add in the future, but maybe time will tell. Handling in this thing is very composed, and while it won't match a Type R, it feels more agile than many of its rivals. Now, this vehicle doesn't have adaptive suspension, so when you go through your drive modes, nothing's really going to change there. However, for this year, the suspension has been reworked and retuned to account for the heavier weight, because it now is a hybrid, and I have to say it does feel really good. Going over bumps, there's been, you know, nothing to where the vehicle has made me feel like I'm kind of losing control. No matter what I've encountered so far on the roads, I have felt very in control, and I really like that. And, you know, looking at the wheel here, we do have these paddle shifters to put us into manual mode to also work with our regen braking. Now, in the max stage of regen, which is the 4th arrow, it doesn't have the deceleration that a traditional EV one-touch drive mode would have, which I've actually grown to be quite fond of. But I wouldn't say it's, lacking too much to where I wouldn't want to use it. I like it because when I'm coming to a stop, I can see that little charge meter kind of fill up, and something in my brain, it just makes me feel very satisfied and like I want to be more conservative on the gas, which is weird because I like to drive, relatively fast. But I'm digging it, and we're getting right around 45.4 miles per gallon. I have to say, at highway speeds, there is definitely a noticeable road and wind noise that comes into the cabin. That's a long-time Civic trait, unfortunately, but we do have that premium Bose sound system, so at least to me, having the option to turn that up and kind of bump it made it okay to live with. Now, with that said, this car feels like a small performance car when you're just whipping this thing around town, yet it still delivers exceptional efficiency. It's a very hard combo to beat in this class. It's easy to see why this Civic is so highly praised. The hybrid powertrain delivers amazing fuel economy without feeling sluggish, and this car is genuinely fun to drive. It's more spacious than many of its compact rivals, and the Sport Touring trim adds nice premium touches. The leather seats, the audio, the bigger screen. Now, there were a few features like the heated steering wheel or, lack of spare tire that would have been nice too, but overall, I feel like this is still a big win for Honda. This thing is efficient, it's roomy, it's well built, and yeah, it's pretty dang sporty. Now, after getting behind the wheel, I really understand why this checks a lot of boxes for people. Now, everything we have said is subjective. We'd always recommend you go down to your local Honda dealership, try one of these things out for yourselves. Let us know if maybe you agreed with some of our talking points. Now, with a total price out the door for this top trim, you're looking at $34,500. Let me know what you think of that price down below in the comments. That's going to be pretty much it for the review, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed my time with this vehicle. Remember, if you're in the market for maybe a classic car or a muscle car, going over to our website, classiccars.com. That's our online marketplace with over 38,000 listings live across the site. We also have a sister website, autohunter.com. That's our 7-day online auction. That's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next review.